So welcome everybody. Jamie Monroe here and Steve Brundage. Really excited to listen to this talk on the pairs offense. As I sort of mentioned to you guys, Steve worked for Chris Bates at Drexel and then at Princeton, and these guys pioneered this offense. And Brundage will tell you, and I talked to him at length about it today, that this is his favorite thing to do. He loves it. It keeps it stays fresh. It's unguardable. It's read and reacts. But it's not just X's and O's. It's going to be the way he teaches it. It's the way he allows this, the way he develops his players, and the way he implements it. So without further ado, Brundage, thanks so much for being on this, and I'm going to turn it over to you now.
I appreciate the introduction, Jamie. Everybody on the call, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate your time. And always love an opportunity to talk lacrosse, but especially more specifically to talk about, the pairs offense, and something that I've been lucky to be a part of for the last 10 years since I've gotten into coaching. As Jamie mentioned, I got involved with Drexel University back in 2008, and it's pretty much the first thing I started to coach, which was the two-man game. And it's evolved over time. But as Jamie mentioned, I think for me, it's something that I'll always want to coach, whether I'm, implementing any other type of offense, because mainly for three reasons, and Jamie touched on them. But one is I've realized that our kids have the most fun within this offense because it allows for so much creativity. And I think you guys will see that in the clips that I'll show tonight, and really what makes lacrosse so great. And then second, and certainly at the college level, it's tough to scout because it is ever changing. It's within the moment. It's a reactive offense to what the defense is doing. And I think over the course of a season, that can really, really serve you well as teams start to scout you and really understand who you are towards the end of the year. And then lastly, I honestly believe that it's a simple system at the core. A lot of people think it's a really tough offense to learn. And there's a lot of nuances that take time to get good at, but at the core, it's a really simple system in terms of just partnering up with another guy, being in tune, and just constantly reading what's going on. So for those three reasons, I've absolutely loved it and will continue to coach it. But I think the first thing that I want to do is just show you guys a clip. I've obviously been digging around some clips for tonight, and I took one from the Denver game last year. We played Denver. Maybe some of you guys know, we play them at the end of the regular season every year, and then if we're lucky enough to make the Big East tournament, we play them again, back-to-back games. And so this was our first game at the end of regular season where they came to Marquette and beat the crap out of us. But this is a clip I took because I think this kind of captures the essence of what we're trying to do within a possession. And, things that I'll talk about tonight in terms of everything that we like to do, our slips, the way we pick on the ball, a term you'll hear me use, I'll talk about called Swiffering, which is basically a weave. You'll see redodging right now. You'll see constant movement with the ball, without the ball moving from side to side, from behind back to one of the sides. Everything that we're trying to do, if I were to grade a good possession, this is it. And it doesn't even end in a goal. But we'll start with this so you guys can kind of get a sense of the part whole, and then we'll dig in from there. Just watch our Dodgers heads up. Constant movement off ball, some exchanging, redodging. Head up, waiting for a slide, waiting to react to see what the defense is going to do. Constant pressure on ball. Got a little bit of a mismatch behind with one of our attackmen. And then it ends right there with our best player plugging one of the Denver defensemen in the helmet. But what I noticed when I watched that clip is not just our guys, and I'll rewind it for you a little bit, is just watching the Denver defensemen. And this is what we love to do within our tango set. That's what we call pairs here at Marquette, is our tango set. But just watching how they're constantly trying to figure out what we're going to do. They're not too comfortable the whole time. And that's essentially what we're trying to do to the defense, is make them uncomfortable, put them in a situation where they're not ready to have their hot guy, their second slide's not ready, and the whole defense is just ready to go. That's really the idea, is to create some confusion and a lot of chaos out there. So let me play the second clip here that will obviously simplify and show you guys what we're trying to do in practice. So this group right here is our group this year. And by design, I didn't put tango in the fall. We kind of just ran a more traditional set. And this is the first time these guys are really being introduced to this. And this is January 15th, about a month ago. These guys learning it. So to try to break it down as simply as possible for you guys out there, and I know you'll have questions at the end, but let's start off by the way I look at the field and how we number the field and kind of what our partnering system is. So this guy down here, we always label as the 2. This guy right here, we label as the 3. This is the 4. This is the 5. This is the 1. And the guy on the inside is the 6. Okay. So in this situation right now, our partners are always 2 and 3, 4 and 5, and then 1 and 6. And we call the guys up in the box, what we call the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5, the box guys. These guys are in the box. And then these guys are the pipe guys. Now, you guys might ask, well, how do you determine who plays where? Well, like in most traditional offenses, we usually put our quarterback or our best ball handler, our more traditional attackman behind the cage, and he most of the time plays the 1 spot. The 6 spot, which again, these guys are interchangeable. The pipe guys can interchange, and you'll see as we go on what they do. But a lot of the time, if you have an attackman that's just more of a finisher, better hands, he usually plays the 6 spot, which is usually kind of floating around in front of the crease in this area. All right. And maybe not dodging as much. Typically, the guys that play the 2 and the 3 are my lefties, and the guys that play the 4 and the 5 are my righties. All right. And obviously, as time goes on, you'll see that guys interchange positions all the time. There's a ton of flow to what we're trying to do. So if you start the possession at 2, that doesn't mean you're going to stay there. You could end up way over here at this point by the end of the possession. But certainly those guys like to operate. The lefties like to operate on this side, and the righties like to operate on that side. So that's how we number the field, because if we are changing positions so much, it's easy for us if through the flow of play, we like a matchup. Let's say this guy through the flow of play has a short stick, and he's our best player, and all of a sudden he has a short stick on him, and he doesn't always. Well, then we don't just need to scream Johnny's name. We can just say, hey, let's get the ball to the 2, or let's get the ball to the 3 spot. We like that matchup there. And it's just much easier to refer to spots on the field than players while we're playing. So this is what how I introduced it this year, is just simply just kind of showing our guys, just like I'm talking to you right now, the spots on the field, how we number it, and then taking them slowly through a dodge and how everybody should look off ball through that dodge. And so if we go slow-mo, one of the hard, fast rules that I have in the offense is when we're dodging downfield, the guy opposite and high and away almost always mimics that dodge. So you'll watch this guy follow his dodge on the backside. The guy underneath, all right, if this is 4, 5 is the partner. 5 has options. He can do a multitude of things, which we'll go through. He can set picks. He can come up and slip. He can bail, which is one of my favorite terms and one of my favorite things we do within the offense. Or he can simply mirror, which is what we do a lot, and certainly to start the possession. So that's what you're seeing here, is a flash from this guy, a mirror from this guy, and a back out from this guy. Our pipe guys maintain pipe position and then back up and drift and hold pipe and then back up and drift accordingly to what's happening with the dodge up top. So again, watch it slowly. Dodge, mirror with this guy. He's replacing, a flash with that guy, and a back out. And I'll pause it right here because what I talk to my guys about is our shape within this offense always goes from being a 2-2-2, okay, which is this set right here. We kind of start. Here's a 2-2, 2-2-2, all right, to a 1-3-2. And that's what we want to look like at the end a lot of times, no matter kind of where, if we're dodging over top or going down the alley. Here's our 1-3-2. And that's what we should always look like. I talk to our guys about changing our shape up top from our box to our triangle. All right, and you'll see that as we go on. And that's what we're trying to do is maintain balance. So I need my dodger to have options. Right now, he has the option if the defense and everybody we play slides off a different guy. They determine how they want to slide to us. Let's say this team wants to slide off the partner. Well, that's why he's mirroring and he's rolling back for an outlet. You also have an outlet in front of you. If we go through X, we're maintaining an outlet on the back side so we can move the ball through X. In most offenses, it's the same thing. You want to move the ball from one side of the field to the other as quickly as possible. And you also want to have a threat inside. So we kind of go from being a little bit of an open set into always having guys flash and being in the middle, which is why we want to mimic that dodge on the back side. Now, you might ask, Coach, does it matter who flashes and who backs out? The answer is no. What I constantly tell my guys is that balance is key. So if during this dodge right now, if this guy wanted to back out and this guy that's already in there wanted to just flash, could they do that? Yes. It wouldn't matter. All that would matter is that we have somebody at the 2 spot when it's all said and done, and somebody that plays the 3, which essentially is this spot on the field, would be in here like that. Roll to another clip. Let these guys play a little bit more. So in terms of implementing, guys, I will literally just start off by showing the spots on the field, allowing one dodge, allowing minimal off-ball movement, and then stopping it, talking it through, and then allowing them to go a little bit further. So here's a clip with them just being able to dodge a little bit further. Replace, flash, goes around. Again, so now when it gets to this guy, he can go up top, he can go underneath, he's going to react. Prior to him dodging, he could go set a pick, he could slip, or he could bail. What do we want these guys doing on the backside? Constantly moving, and then somebody has to get out of the way of the dodger, and somebody has to flash to the inside. Again, maintaining balance. So you're going to watch these two guys on the backside right now. They're going to be slow to communicate. One of them is going to try to say you should fade, and one of them is going to say you should get in the middle. They don't talk well, but they finally get to where they need to be. See them screw it up a little bit. One starts to fade at the last minute. And then you'll see these guys go into what we call a Swiffer, which essentially is just a weave. Again, when this guy catches the ball, he can dodge down the alley or he can cut back against the grain. And watch the flow. Watch this guy who just caught the ball over here now come underneath while this guy goes over the top, and they simply replace each other from side to side. Another clip, skeleton. Let these guys play a little bit more. All right, there we go. We got over the top dodge. We're going to mirror, we're going to fade, we're going to flash and have inside presence. Coach, what do the pipe guys do? My 1 and my 6 guys, what do they do constantly? Well, I like them to be present. Chris Bates, my former mentor and boss at Drexel and Princeton, always said to me, 6 guys above the cage are better than 4. So as much as we can help it when these guys are playing lacrosse up top, I want my 2 pipe guys present. And I think you guys will see as time goes on, if we do a good job dodging and playing our 2-man game and our 4-man game up top, these defensemen guarding these pipe guys are going to want to look to slide up field and help. And if these guys back there are just hanging out below goal line, it turns into 6 against 4 with the defense having the advantage. All right. I think we see that a lot with a lot of 2-2-2, a lot of deuces offense, where you just see the attackmen hanging out too far towards the end line, and they're not really a part of the offense. Now, as dodges occur and Dodgers get closer to the pipe guys, you will see our pipe guys release and watch what their defenseman does and play that accordingly. But while these guys are doing their thing up top and swiffering and dodging, I want my pipe guys on the pipes as much as possible. And when you watch these guys, I've talked to them about pretending, because it's skeleton. So it's up to them. It's completely freelance and creative. So they can pretend they're mirroring. They can pretend they're going to go set a pick. You'll see these guys throw stick fakes, working on all the little things that they're going to have to do during a game to make this 2-man game kind of minutia work.
Hey, Brundy, I got a question.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So when you guys are doing your weave, how important is it to make sure that the dodger who can come over the top in that weave, how important is it to make sure that he keeps his guy honest and goes underneath sometimes? Because it seems like a lot of times when people try to run weaves, they're like catching the ball on the move to the middle, and it just becomes, it like looks cool, but then it really doesn't do anything. And I'm just wondering about the timing of catching it and giving yourself a threat to go underneath as well as topside.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Usually we'll weave or Swiffer twice. So, for instance, we'll go from this side. This guy will catch the ball, come back over, and then this guy that's catching it for the second time will then go under. And it's kind of like basketball. You see those guys dribble, drive over the top. They hand off, dribble, drive, hand off, and then you just get the defense moving. A lot of time, these weaves and Swiffer, and we certainly feel that's why we use it a lot, is just to get flow. It's as much to get all our guys involved and comfortable dodging, and then hopefully get the defense a little off and disorientated where they are. And then from there we can dodge. But certainly, Jamie, we're looking to catch the ball on one of these wings and go hard underneath at any moment if we feel like it's there.
Cool. That's a great call with the whole flow part and just getting them moving. So makes sense.
Yep. See, there you go. A guy comes up and sets an up pick all of a sudden. And again, I'm just telling these guys to just pretend out there. Act like you've got a guy on you, make a decision, and let guys react. And it's not pretty. Again, this group is doing this for the first time. We've got 18 freshmen in our program and 22 sophomores. So I have a lot of young kids learning this for the first time. And then again, you see when one of the pipe guy catches it, this other pipe guy is ready to constantly mirror and release. So most of the time within your partner system, you are mirroring, always looking to support. All right, and then kind of one more clip here. It's probably a week later after these guys start to get it a little bit. And again, I want you guys to notice all the little nuances of these guys possibly throwing stick fakes. There's a stick fake over. And they got to constantly talk and figure out who their partner is. If we weave, the partners will change, so they have to look over. I'm with you. I'm constantly asking them, who are you with? Who are you with? There's a pick. There's another Swiffer. All right, let's get the ball behind, because I know a lot of coaches, when I talk to them about this offense, what do we do behind? What do we do up top when the ball's behind? And, I change it every year, and I'll show you a clip from our Jacksonville game this past Saturday, what we're doing right now. And honestly, I change it from game to game. But really, it's just making sure we're active up top. So if you watch this right here, this is just something I introduced a month ago, and it's already changed here. But we're going to mirror. So you watch the guy in the crease release and try to get to X. not doing a great job. And almost always, no matter what our cuts are in our offense, this ball side guy, low guy, is almost always getting through. All right, it just makes a ton of sense to clear him through. Right now we're coming over to support the ball. There's not a ton of movement with this early action that I've taught these guys, and it's really just to keep the field spaced, allow this guy room to dodge to get to the island, and now we're throwing up and over to the backside, because what I love in tango in pairs is if you have a strong dodge on one side of the field, all right, and you make the whole defense have to turn and look at this guy, once the ball comes up with quick ball movement and we whip it around, this can be a really difficult thing to guard over here. And that's when we're at our best, not when it's the first dodge of the possession and the other team knows we're about to get into a two-man game, because they're ready. You know, it's just like when you do 2-on-2s in practice. The defense knows it's coming. They're communicating what they're going to do. And it's the same thing when we're playing. You know, you've got to have deception on one side of the field, whip the ball around, and now you can bail, you can set a pick, or you can mirror and just let this guy dodge right away. All right, and so that's why we do love to dodge from behind, is to soften the defense up top and let our four-man box work be successful. So here's a clip from Ohio State. This is a couple years ago. I grabbed this just because it's good footage from up top, and they're in the horseshoe. All right, so here's our best player, 88, Ryan McNamara, with a long pole on him, and you see us bring a shorty to him, and that's something that we're constantly doing, not necessarily setting picks to get a shot right away, but we're constantly setting picks to get mismatches and to get our best players with an optimal matchup. And I got to tell you guys, that's one thing that I can guarantee you with this offense. If you start to constantly set picks with your guys and they get good at it, you will constantly get the best players on your field a good matchup. All right, and what's important is that as soon as the switch occurs, this guy gets the heck out of there and clears that pole so we can attack this matchup. And again, Ohio State's, they're really good in how they slide, but you can see our partner mirroring here, them coming off the pipe guy here, second sliding off our backside pair here. So this is a really good job by Ohio State, not letting us pass the ball forward. So you would say to yourself, if you don't want to take this shot, what do you have? You probably have to roll and throw the ball here and then get the ball to the backside, which you see us do a lot in our offense. And I'm going to show you guys a drill that helps us work on that, is constantly dodging, rolling, throwing back up, throwing over, and looking to attack this side. Obviously, again, you're looking to get the ball from one side of the field to the other, and most offenses are doing that through X or turning the other way. It's no different with this. But obviously, we like our guy, and I don't mind him taking this shot.
Hey, Brundage, we have a question from one of the coaches.
Please.
Bob wants to know, will this work well against a zone as well as man?
I have run a similar system a couple years ago. I was running basically a trip set, which was pass down, pick down, come over the top, but our pipe guys were very much involved, and it was basically a weave with all these guys. These three guys, it was basically a trip set, and these guys were constantly weaving. We had success with it, but I just didn't think it was high potent in terms of getting great looks. It was good in terms of taking your time in a zone offense and not forcing anything. And we would lull teams to sleep. But I've kind of gone away from it. My personal opinion, what I've learned over the years in zone is I think the 1-4-1 is probably the best way to attack a zone. I just think it's extremely difficult. It puts pressure behind the cage up top. You put two guys inside, especially if a team wants to put their short sticks inside. And we've changed to a 1-4-1 in the last few years, and it's given us a ton of success.
Awesome. We might have to get you back on to talk about that someday, Brundage.
Sounds good. All right. Let's see here. Again, another example here of just some basic skeleton. Watching this guy mirror, a flash, and when I pause it, what's the shape that we're in, guys? Our 1, 3, 2. All right, and that's, again, what we should look like anytime that we're throwing forward, dodging over the top, or dodging the alley and throwing back. Okay, again, that 1, 3, 2. We have that flash on the back side, and it wouldn't matter if we went forward. This flasher would be in there. This guy would be getting out to what we call the half spot. We love this half spot. We love getting to this spot on the field. But in this case, I told him to throw back. Boom, and now the guy in the half spot is looking to come up and receive the ball to catch and to go the other way. And essentially, that's what I just showed you in the Ohio State game. This would be like our guy number 88 dodging. There's no real outlet in front of him. He's got to roll, get the ball here, and get the ball to the other side of the field. All right, so this is our game from Jacksonville on Saturday. You can kind of see our basic setup. Again, the only difference here is I have taken, all right, this is the guy in the 4 spot. I have taken the guy that normally mirrors in the 5 spot, and we simply inverted him. This is something that we like to do. It messes with the defense underneath. So instead of constantly having your partnership look like this, you can kind of be in a little bit of a 3-out set. Okay, again, here's our 3, here's our 2, here's one of our pipe guys. We'll call him 1, and then our 6 guys over there. Okay, and that's our box guys right there. But instead of having 5 standing there, I took 5 and took them out here. Now, why do I do that? Is because now when we dodge, instead of them having the ability to slide off the partner, which is now a farther slide, they're coming off underneath, maybe the backside pair or the pipe guy, which we love that because we love to throw forward to the pipe guy and then through X. But otherwise, you'll see kind of everything the same. This guy's flashing, and we're looking to get the guy to the half spot, ball to the half spot on the backside. Our pass work isn't great, and it takes us a while to get there. But now you can see us in it. We flash through. We've got our guy here. We're a little congested. I don't love this. And this is a byproduct of the offense, and this is why I wanted to show you guys this clip, is it's not going to be pretty at times. And it gets bunched up, you know, because guys are kind of running into each other. It's an offense played within here, and you will find that you get bunched up. But I will also say that you're very close to the cage when you're dodging, and that's an advantage, I think, for the offense, because there's so many offenses that dodge from way up here all the time, and you're far. You've got to get closer on your dodge to shoot. And I think with this offense, we constantly are shrinking the defense, because even though we're compact, look at Jacksonville. They're extremely compact as well. And even though we don't have great pass work with all this, we get one of our best dodgers, who is probably our best guy this year, John Wagner, in the middle of the field with his strong hand.
You know, on those long dodges, Brundy, they just don't, you know, teams have a lot of time to figure out what's going to happen. But when you
a ton of time to react.
They don't have any time to react. Somebody, you know, they either got to go early or late.
Okay, you can just see us getting the ball around. And then here's a little 2-man game. Watch the guys on the backside here. Just stay active. So these two backside defensemen can't really be a part of what's going on. Show you again. So we call this short side. The reason we call it short side is because we have a short stick over here. Both short sticks for Jacksonville are guarding the guys at the positions of 4 and 5. The long poles are over here guarding 2 and 3. So what I demand while we're playing a 2-man game over here is that these guys are active. Now, they don't always have to be, because sometimes it's good to just be stationary, and I'll show you a couple instances when that is the case. But most of the time, I want these guys at least exchanging and or flashing and popping, so these two defensemen can't feel like they're ready to help out. And you kind of see that here with this 2-man game, a little throwback, and no one's really there to help out, and we get a good shot from a decent spot on the field. All right, kind of same thing. Watch it, flash, get to the half spot, through X, and now we're ready to go. This guy, he just flashed. I'll rewind it and show you again. He just flashed, and now he knows he's John's partner, and watching him come. Now, he maybe doesn't realize he's got a long pole, and that's the tough thing within the offense, is to constantly recognize your partner's matchup, what he has on him, and who you have on you. If you have a short stick, it tells you a lot what you should be doing. But Connor knows he's his partner, so he tries to get over this side of the field. And again, we get John in the middle of the field. We get nothing out of this, but I just wanted to show you guys our flow. All right.
We got a couple questions here, Brundy, real quick.
Please.
John Hunter is asking, what determines if you pick slip or bail, and then if it goes into a four-man weave, do you teach a pattern or freelance?
Freelance in the weave, and we just rep it so guys are comfortable, and I'll show you a drill that we do. And, you know, in terms of what you do on the slip pick, you know, we don't love to bring long pulls to short sticks and set a pick with them unless we just want to get a simple switch, you know, and that will be the case a lot of the time, is that the other team will just switch that. But what we love to do is bring a long pull to a short stick and bail. And I'm going to show you, why don't I just show you a couple of those instances right now. All right, here's again from the game this past weekend. Now watch Ryan bring his long pull and bail on this. This is what we call a bail or an early slip. Now the difference, guys, for me, a bail is usually like 5 yards away. A slip, you can get pretty close and then just get out of there. But if there's a good enough distance, what you do on this bail is just guy taking off is you put a tough decision for him. Is he going to step out and play the ball? If so, the obvious counter is to throw the ball to the guy who just bailed, because now this guy's getting double teamed. If he goes with him, what you're essentially doing, and this is why I love bails more than anything, you're taking the hot guy out of the equation, and now you're forcing Jacksonville to figure out who they're going to slide with down here. And this is why we score a goal right now, is because we get them to slide off of John Wagner, and now we've got them all shifted, and we get a simple goal by the crease. Watch this develop. There goes the bail. They come off the pipe. We do a good job of presenting ourselves off ball. Sticks are up. Again, there goes the bail. We take him out. And when it goes to X, watch where our position is. I got a guy at the half spot. I've got my pipe guy with his stick up. I've got my other guy flashing. So everybody for Jacksonville is worried about this. And now we can back out. We have this. We still have that option, and we can even pass it up here. All through a simple little bail. All right. Here's another one. Watch 17 right here. Bail real quick, or a slip. Again, they're kind of the same thing, and the difference to me is just the distance from which you do it. All right. And just this little hesitation. This guy right here, how's he going to play it? And everybody going into our games determines, hey, we're going to slide with this guy. Well, if I know that, then we're going to bail and slip like crazy, force guys to double us and throw back, and we'll work on our slip passes all week. And because this guy bails, it holds him up for just a second, and number 4 is able to squeak in for a shot because they're hesitant to slide off the pipe, because the possession before this, they slid off the pipe and we scored a goal. And now this guy gets that shot 2 yards from the crease. And he doesn't score, but he draws a penalty because Jacksonville is pretty cheap, and they were hitting us like that all day. There it is again. Okay, there's a bail, and they switch. John Wagner, our best guy, recognizes this. This is the face-off guy, actually. And he's barely playing John. He just steps in and shoots. This is against Denver in the Big East tournament last year. This is the semifinal game. Here's a nice little bail. Again, because of this bail, what do they have to do? They have to come off the second layer of the defense, and it just opens everything up on the backside. Show you again. Get out of there. Second layer. All right. And so this is us in practice kind of working on these things from both sides. Again, you'll see some guys do it earlier, a more extreme bail or a slip. You can shoot coming out of this or pass back.
Quick question here from Chris. Do you usually try to get both shorts on the same side?
Great question. Most possessions to start, I want a shorty on each side because, and this is the case this year. Last year, I didn't mind so much because I had all seniors on offense, and I had guys that were great dodgers, and they could dodge poles. So I didn't care if we had two shorties on one side because if the ball went to the side where there was two poles, we still dodged with confidence. This year, not so much. And so I want to maintain having a shorty on each side so we feel comfortable dodging the shorties and the ball doesn't sit on one side of the field. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Again, a drill here for you guys in terms of implementing. And, you know, it's not rocket science what we're doing. It's just simply breaking down what I'm constantly doing is just thinking about, and this is what you guys should all be doing in terms of what offense you want to run. What do we do within that offense and strip it down and then drill it from there? All right, our guys like to do this. This is what makes the offense good. So let's work on this. And again, it's just, you know, you can see this little dance move. You know, watch 4 come down right here and just this little 1-2 chop. You know, get your feet, get set. We call this sitting in the pocket right here. Sit in the pocket. Get your feet set. Get ready to take a shot.
How often do you work on your faking, Brundy? Your guys fake passes a lot, and I noticed you commented on it. Is it something that you stress, or is it something that they do?
I stress it. You know, that's a great question. I don't actually drill it. I don't usually put in drills. I'm just constantly telling our guys to do it. Like if we're doing a drill in practice, I'll keep reminding them, use your fakes, use your hands. So I think it's more just a constant reminder to the guys more than actually drilling it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's some guys that are just better at it than others that I think should do it. Let's see here.
Quick question here.
Yeah.
There becomes a lot of draw and dump opportunities. Do you have any good drills to teach and emphasize where to go?
Draw and dump say the question again.
There seems to be a lot of draw and dump opportunities. Do you have a drill that teaches the guys where to go? I mean, I would say it seems like, you know, everything you're doing is teaching them where to go.
Yeah, you know, and I think just maintaining balance. So let's watch, let's see. Let's see if I can. Let's watch some wing dodges, and I think this will help. You know, I think you always need a guy on either side of you. So the question remains, you know, for me, I'm constantly telling my guys, balance, balance, balance. So if we have maintained balance in the box, there should always be somebody to dump it to. We kind of know, like our guys, without even seeing, if they go hard here and they dodge, they should know if they feel pressure in front of them, that they're able to turn and throw back here and that there's somebody here. So to answer your question, these spots are almost always occupied on the field. You know, whether, you know, you started the possession there or not, you're going to end up supporting the ball, and then certainly at X. Oh, I don't know what happened to that cut. Sorry.
This is the home field?
This is the home field. Okay, so there it is right there. Here's a wing dodge. Okay, And again, if this kid went forward and he passed, we'd have an option there. And now he goes underneath. And we're a little inverted again. Okay, so like this is our partner system right here. And then these two guys. And then these guys are my pipe guys. And when I invert, we just basically call it diamond. But essentially, like I told you guys, it's our 1-3-2 or our triangle shape. That's not a great triangle, but like that. All right. And all this is doing is just forcing them to come off another guy. But you can see this guy split, roll underneath. They do not slide off the partner. I don't believe here. They come off the pipe guy. And there's our dump. And now, again, we're looking to get it to the half spot on the backside. And I think this cut, we lose it here, but this guy scores again.
So how low is the half spot?
The half spot is right here. It is pretty low. I would say you're in position to catch the ball from an attackman catching the ball from this guy so he could see you right here. So I would say it's a little bit lower than halfway up the box. All right. And we wanted to give it a name so our guys could just get to that spot. You know, I think it's something I've learned over time. The more you can give guys landmarks, it helps them.
So why so low? So that you're open enough?
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, it's so when the ball goes through X, you're right here. You're right here for a shot or a dodge out the top side.
Now, you won't go to the half spot when the ball gets thrown back, right? You'll go higher.
Correct. So, for instance, if we were to dodge if we were to dodge underneath and then roll back, but the partner was underneath and this guy on the backside flashed, it's this guy's responsibility. It's basically the far guy's responsibility to read what this guy's doing. If he goes forward, he's at the half spot right here. If he rolls back, he needs to come up and receive the ball almost up in this area. So that's the work of the backside guy. This other partner here is the flasher. Now, within our system, most of the time, we have this guy over here, the 3 guy, the one flashing, and the 2 guy just kind of sits there and reads. Am I catching it from there or popping high? But what you could obviously do is just flash the 2, and then the 3 could either work to get lower or almost be in position if you were to roll back. Here's an example of a 2-man game, a wing dodge. They don't come off the partner. They start to come off the pipe. We have this option here, but Tanner elects to shoot and gets a good shot off. Here's a freshman for us on Saturday getting his first shift, his first dodge. Of course, what does he do on his first college shift ever? He throws an underhand pass. And just watch this break down. Again, look what we did with the partner here. We're bringing Wagner up, taking this guy out of the equation. Or if he wanted to, he could slide down. And if he did, our guy would roll and throw or step in. And in this instance, all right, so when we dodge from the wing, I always want a pipe guy on top of the crease in the backside and a pipe guy at X. So that is the difference between when we're dodging up here and maybe coming down the alley, and I want my pipe guys on goal line on the sides. When the dodge is more from the wing and coming from this lower spot, we stand like this as pipe guys, 1 and 6. And we're in good position right here. They slide off of the 6 guy, and we get this little look right here. And he doesn't can it.
Oh, not a bad first play, though.
Not a bad first play for the freshman.
He's a Canuck?
No, he's from Connecticut, but he plays like a Canuck. All right, here's our scrimmage from Michigan last year to start the year. And this is Tanner Thompson, who, unfortunately for me as a coach, he's a senior in our program, but he's redshirted due to injury and a few other things. So luckily I'll have him next year, but I have to just watch him in practice every day and not get to play him. He's a phenomenal Dodger. But again, you can watch this wing dodge. All right, we have a guy at X, all right, being guarded, so that's not an option. And Tanner's just patient, working his guy, waiting to see if he's going to slide off his partner or if they're going to come off the backside. And let's just watch this play develop. They slide off of Ryan McNamara downfield. So naturally, he just throws it up. Look where the second slide comes from. It comes from the guy guarding the 3. He slides all the way over. Watch where the slide from there is going to come all the way up from there. And there we're simply just throwing up and throwing over. So the question earlier is, where do guys stand? There's a lot of draw and dump. We should always have these spots maintained. Even if these guys are flashing and popping and being active on the backside while our 2-man game is going, they should always end up in these spots in a perfect world. And you can see he's got one more pass here, but he elects to just make a nice move and get to the middle of the field and scores a goal. You can watch it again. Over. And we've got Michigan on their heels. There's a great stick fake from Tanner. All right, and again, now we've got a switch. We get our best player, Ryan McNamara, last year with a short stick. And just watch the type of dodging. He's patient. You know, he does not move in too fast. He's kind of bouncing up and down. Watch everyone underneath ball. They're a little confused. And now we get Ryan going downfield and getting him a great look. And again, that's just simply from a little 2-man game. There's a switch. All right. Tanner gets out of there. These guys stay active enough. Michigan doesn't know what's happening. Another one here. These are all consecutive possessions. Tanner does a great job of throwing a stick fake here. Boom. Coming underneath and sticking it. This is just a great individual play. We are kind of toying with Michigan this day. All right, this is Ohio State, back to that same game. Okay, they slide, but Tanner just moves it because Ohio State is so heavy in their rotation. So this is open on the backside as well. And this is great. Coming off of a little sweep. Jamie, you asked, do you come underneath? Yeah, so Wagner could have come back over the top, but this is a great time for him to catch it off of this little sweep and go forward. And there's a bail right here. Bail. They don't really bite on it. Ohio State's really good. And this is John Wagner, who grew up a lot last year. Now is our best player. Just trying to see if he can find anything here. But Ohio State's doing a great job. So where should John go with the ball right now? Right here. But my guy's a little lazy, and he's not where he needs to be. And that's going to happen with this within this offense. John's got an option here. Ryan McNamara should have been here.
This was what, last year or 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. Yes, that was 2 years ago. All right, again, another wing dodge with Tanner Thompson. Just a 2-man game. Watch us on the backside, sometimes standing or exchanging. Kind of waiting to see what Denver's going to do. Kind of call this, Bill Tierney called us in his press conference after the game. We shopped dodge, which I actually thought was a great term. And he's right. We're constantly just shopping, and our dodgers aren't really moving too hard, but they're just kind of waiting to see what these guys are going to do. And Ryan's just patient and kind of bouncing up and down and reading it. And there's a pass, step in, pass, one more. We don't get a great shot. That's just another example. Here's the end of the game. We're winning 9-8, and Denver's exhausted from having to guard us dodging like this. And there's no way our best player should get a shot like this, standing this close to the cage with nobody around him. And again, I just think this is a product of this offense. And Tanner has a great little underhand slip pass. Watch our guys in the backside move enough to occupy these guys. Watch John Wagner cut, and that's why there's nobody here to guard Ryan McNamara. And that sealed the game for us and took us to the Big East Championship last year.
Brundy, I think one of the things is that this offense, the way it's constructed, it almost like is an environment that makes that type of shop dodging just kind of the better way to go rather than speed dodging and taking it way out. And your players are developing to playing a different style, which is also very much of a Canadian type of style. You and I have talked a fair amount about that, and I've shared with a lot of the coaches the fact that I think there's a lot of ways to dodge, but one of the great ways is when you get really close to somebody, just outside of their ability to cross-check you. You saw Denver there. They were literally at your mercy, and nobody knows whether to slide or not. And then if they overslide just a little bit and you bail, they're screwed. And so, it's almost like they need to get out and pressure you a little bit more to like make you do something so that they can actually have like a read that they know what to do. But I think it's really neat. The whole model is more than just a system. It's of X's and O's. It's a kind of a way you play.
Yeah, it's a style, and it's a great point, Jamie. And when I talk to defensive coordinators and coaches after the game when they play us, it's exactly what they say. It's exhausting trying to figure out if we're actually going to the cage or not. Because if you've got the most athletic midi in the world, all the middies in the ACC, the Dukes and the UNCs and the Virginias, those guys that can run lights out, it's almost easier at times for a defense to see a guy getting beat in space and to slide and to have everybody work underneath in the defense and support that. And we're not getting those athletes here. Now, granted, I've been lucky. We've gotten some kids that have just turned out to be great players. But really what we pride ourselves on is that in tight, shifty, good footwork, jabbing in and out, just really tough to figure out if we're actually beating somebody. Because that's the toughest thing when you talk defensively. You want your hot guy to recognize if somebody's beat or not. And if he can't, then the whole defense just basically sits there. Or they slide and we see it coming and we just were able to move the ball. So I agree, Jamie. It's a big time style thing, and it's helped us honestly in the success of our young program without getting those big time athletes being able to be successful. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the amazing thing about it is that I think it's, and I don't want to take anything away from the job you're doing because it's great, but I think it's actually an easier way to be successul because of the fact that it's easier to beat people one-on-one when you get really, you put them you're in no man's land. They're not used to it. They're used to people running at them. They're used to having a cushion. They're used to being able to back off. And now, they just don't really know what to do. They're not used to, you talked about McNamara in the sense that he's really patient. Defenders are not used to like having their offensive guy attack them as if it's Kyrie Irving dribbling a basketball. And it really screws them up. So I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. A couple cuts here, guys. We call this, I labeled it 4 burn over. So again, this is just us dodging from the 4 spot and going over the top. And I just want you to see us working on it, earlier in the year and watching the shape. Okay. Again, we went from our box to kind of this 1-3-2 when it's all said and done. And this is what we look like a lot of the time. And I'm going to just show you some cuts in games. Again, our pipe guys are ready for these defensemen to step up and help out. But what's great about this, this is my favorite place to dodge in the offense, is to come from this corner. I think it's really, really difficult. It allows our guys to choose either side and still be a threat to go towards the cage. If we go over and we mirror and teams want to slide off the mirror, we'll just throw a slip pass, and I'll show you some cuts where we get goals out of that. Or if they want a second slide off the D guy, we're ready to throw it here and then throw it there. If we come off over the top and they don't slide off the partner, which a lot of teams are starting to not slide off the partner because they feel like it's too easy for us to throw that slip pass. Teams will come off of the fade guy, which is this guy, fading, and teams might slide to our face, and then we'll simply throw it one more. Or teams will come off of this guy, the inside guy. And so I just want you to see what we work on. We do drills all the time where we work on just throwing it forward or even looking to throw it inside or throw it forward and then throw it inside from there. All right, so there's an example of it that literally we worked on like the week before, and I was pumped. In the very first possession of Jacksonville on Saturday, this is our very first possession. You will see this pretty much exactly like you just saw. There it is right there. Okay, we got the throwback. They don't come off the partner. They look to come off the fade guy. We throw forward, and then we throw inside. All right, and just watch it again. 4 burn over. There's a nice little slip by our Canadian there, who is Tanner Thompson's little brother, who's a freshman. And then another great look inside to another Canadian. Guys, it does help to have some Canadians on the field. Currently, there's 3 on this field right now. They're not the fastest guys, but they're usually pretty smart. And they usually have good stick skills and a good feel for the game. This is in the NCAA tournament, the first round last year. Again, watch it develop. There's our kind of triangle. And we end up finding the guy to the inside.
This is Notre Dame? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame loves coming off.
They love coming off the inside.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we knew that, and we knew to look for it, and we knew we were either going to try to get it to here to him to throw it in there, or just extend your dodge and look inside. And we got 2 goals this game by doing that. All right. So there's an example of that. And then there's a throwback. Okay. So same thing. Come from the 4 spot. Spot that we like to come from right here. And now, instead of going forward, throw to the slip guy. And what happens from there? So here's an example. In that same Notre Dame game, Tanner Thompson, who was our big initiator last year, coming from that 4 spot, and now watch him throw to this guy right here for a goal. And what you have to teach these guys is this pipe defenseman, watch that, they're ready to come up. You know, they're ready to slide up and catch this shot. So what we get good at is as this guy dodges, he's actually looking at this guy, not this guy. And he's ready to throw that pass all the way down. I actually should have probably grabbed some cuts of that. I know I have them somewhere where we throw it all the way down to the pipe guy. But that's the evolution of one more. Let me show you guys some cuts. Jamie, you stop me if I'm going too long here, but let's give a quick fade shot. We see this a lot where if they don't slide off the fade guy, or I mean, if they do slide off the fade guy and they don't second slide, we work on this shot a lot. And again, we call it sitting in the pocket. And then we're working on backpedaling. A lot of teams don't work on this, but backpedaling, and then taking this shot right there. All right, so we work on this shot a lot. You can do it. You can back. It doesn't really matter where you end up on the field as much as it is that these guys work on the actual act of backpedaling and setting their feet.
It's a big-time box lacrosse skill.
Yep. All right, so we'll work on that. Here's a Ricky. All right.
I got a couple questions here.
Please.
Do you have your kids practice the shuffle passes, and any advice on how to integrate that? Do you have 1 and 6 get frustrated at times with most of the action taking place in the box, especially if you have a great player in the 1 spot?
Let's see. Shovel pass. I think I made a cut of it. No. No. Thought I had it somewhere. Here we go. Here's a spoke drill. A lot of you guys, I'm sure, have heard of this drill. but you can see us just working on our shovel passes in the spoke. And you can do a number of things. This is probably by far my favorite drill, number one, because you can always get the kids to do it before they're stretched. And so they can come out and just lightly kind of, instead of partner passing, get them doing the spoke. Because you can see the guys on the far side over here, they're not doing a shovel, but they're just working on in tight, quick little passes. And that's what our guys need to get good at in this offense. Is it's tough to throw these little tight passes to each other. Whether it's a shovel, a little slip pass in front of you, or a forward pass, you need to get good and almost choking up on your stick and just being really light with your wrists.
A lot of lefties there.
Yeah. Here's some more drills that we work on. I love working on this drill. Call them Canadian quicks because we just get it in our offense all the time. If we're going to dodge from this spot, and my Canadians, if he's all righty, he's going to come down and keep the stick to his outside. My lefties on this side are going to come down and keep the stick to their outside. And so we always end up getting this shot. So we work on this quite a bit. Being able to keep it tucked, protect it with your body, and then pull it out at the right time and get that shot off. Into that, we'll work on a hitch shot. I mean, all these things that we have to do within the offense in a small space, we'll work on. A little split shot, same thing, kind of coming out of your fade, but instead of keep going, look to catch and go the other way to your outside hand. This is one of my favorite drills, guys. We do this every pregame. We just call it pass down, pick down, PDPD. And it's just mimicking a little bit of a pick. Guys can pick, slip, bail, whatever they want. And then the pass is actually going to the guy on the other side. So this dodger is actually going to feed this picker over there. And these guys simultaneously will be a cross feed. It's a fun drill. The guys love it. And it gets a lot of guys involved at the same time. This is 4-man box work. Let's see, maybe not. That was labeled wrong. Apologize. Okay.
Funny, it seems like a remarkably simple offense, actually.
It really is, and that was the first thing I said in my opening. I think honestly, it's simple at the core. Here's some Swiffer examples. All right, so watch us Swiffer here in practice and just work on coming over the top, opening up. We call this a rub. So you're actually, I think this is the toughest thing to guard in the weave and the Swiffer. This is, to me, is really tough in lacrosse for the referees to figure out how to call this. You're not actually setting a pick. You're essentially just kind of rubbing by your guy. And it's really tough. Again, that's why I said, Jamie, we initiate the offense with it a lot because you're just forcing guys to either jump over or try to jump under this. And it's a really tough rub. And we'll do this over and over again for a shot on the backside. And then when you do these drills, guys, you can extend the Swiffer as long as you want. Like this guy right now could catch it and come back over and feed this original dodger. You can get as creative as you want.
How'd you come up with the name Swiffer? Sounds like a Harry Potter.
2 years ago, one of my attackmen, Jordan Greenfield, he came up with it. So usually all the names for what we do, my guys come up with. But there's a Swiffer right there at Jacksonville last year. Swiffer St. John's last year. There's the answer to your question, Jamie. There's 2 Swiffers back to back. And then this guy on the far side catches it with a shorty and then goes underneath. They come off the pipe, and now we're open on the backside through the flow of play. Watch that again. Over the top. Watch the St. John's defense. Now they have to come off that bottom layer. And it doesn't get much easier than that shot.
Do you prefer it when they slide off your pipe guys? Would that be your favorite thing for a defense to do?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because now when the ball goes behind, you get every defenseman on that field turning and looking at that guy. And now cuts are open, guys up top are open, seams are open. I just think it's the best place for the ball to be after the defense is slitted.
Even if they kind of, so that's if they fully, what if if the team that kind of, is going to show, jam you on your underneath, kind of get in your way, and then recover back to that guy. You just got to be able to beat that man that's trying to get back to play you, right?
Correct. Here's a one burn. I know I've been showing you guys a ton of dodging from behind. And listen, that's one thing that we stress a lot here is that the ball cannot die up here. And it happens. My job as a coach is to constantly remind these guys, we got to get the ball behind. This year, we've got better dodgers behind. So we will do that more. But what happens a lot in this offense is that it tends to just die in the box up top. And you need the ball to move quickly here, quickly there, and then go behind. Again, I think forcing the whole defense to have to turn and look. But I just wanted to show you this. This was last year against Robert Morris and what we were doing up top, just simply exchanging both the pairs. And enough action and a nice little slip goal here. Okay, you guys can do whatever you want, but we're mirroring back here basically. And if we didn't have this goal, we would just simply throw it up, throw it over, and repartner and play from there. Another one burn. Okay, here's us. Basically what I showed you on film earlier, clearing space, throwing up, throwing over, and then watch Tanner Thompson just try to set a little surprise pick. And Ryan doesn't really use it. I think the clip cuts out here, but he ends up scoring going down the alley. Because look at this whole alley we created. This was our one burn look from this weekend against Jacksonville. And what we're doing, what we did on Saturday, what we'll still do this weekend is just simply exchange the bottom two guys and then keep these guys up top reading the situation. So we have just support. There's some one burns. And I think, Jamie, I'll leave you guys with one of my favorite things to do, which we call a 52 or a 25. Again, that's us just labeling the field. So if we call a 25, we simply want to dodge from the 2 side. Now, sometimes it kind of looks like a 3 dodge, but really we're just saying we want to dodge from this pair, swing it through X, and dodge out the back side. Again, making it difficult for Richmond here last year to have to face this action over here, turn, and then have to face a tough 2-man game between these 2 guys. So watch this develop. And watch 6 right here come set a pick for our best player. And just a couple examples of these. Through X. We like to get the ball to Johnny Wagner a lot on the backside. And just look at where we get our guys' shots sometimes. I mean, in the middle of the field, look at Villanova's defense. This is against Notre Dame last year in our first game against them. Through X. Surprise pick. Watch him coming out to set this pick. They don't play it well.
It's really great stuff, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Brundage, one of the things you told me last year that I thought was really interesting that I want you to share with these guys a little bit is just the concept of pass count.
Yeah. So I wanted to just basically touch on what makes this whole thing work. All right. Well, like what do I talk to my guys about? All right. So, all right, it's free flowing. I just talked to you guys kind of about the nuts and bolts and some things that we do to practice this. But what's holding all of this together? What makes a great possession for us? Number one, it starts with intense engagement. I think our guys have to just really be in tune. Like, you can't take a second off within a read and react offense. You have to be in tune with constantly who you're working with, who's guarding you, and that helps determine your next move on the field, whether you have the ball or you're off ball. So it starts with engagement. I say that word all the time. I stress that word. And then communication. So it's engagement mentally, but then it's constant communication with the guys on the field. I should constantly see them looking at each other and talking. Quick decision-making obviously plays a huge role. And then pass count. The ball needs to move. It needs to move so that the defense has to go from constantly being on ball to off ball. And I think that's what puts stress on the defense, not kind of throwing the ball around and being really wide and then winding up the wind-up toy and then going again. And don't get me wrong, we have set plays that we call and we do that. But really when we get going, when we're at our best is when the ball is moving hot over here and it swings over here and it moves hot here and then it swings down here and moves hot here. And we constantly have the defense going from playing on ball and stressing about maybe a two-man game or a mirror and then having to go to off ball. And, if we have a pass count of above 15, we're usually getting a decent look. Anything above 20, we've worn them down and we get a great look. And honestly, the numbers usually don't lie. The other thing that I stat in a possession is a percentage of touches is what I call it. And that to me is just everybody getting the ball and getting involved. So if I watch a possession, I need to see that all 6 guys have touched it, have dodged, and have been a part of that possession. Because usually when that happens, again, there's good flow to an offense. I think a lot of times as coaches, if you guys actually start to really stat that percentage of touches, you'll see how many times you guys have the ball and only 3 guys on your team touch it. And that doesn't mean that you need to have all 6 guys that are great, but everybody should feel like they're involved. Because before you know it, a quarter and a half can go by, and one of your starting attackmen might not have touched the ball at all, and then you're wondering why he turns it over or why he's not really in tune to the game. It's all about touches and feel, and I believe that everybody's got to be involved. So we talk about percentage of touches and pass count a ton.
Hey, last question here, Brundy, and then we'll let you go. One of the coaches wants to know what do you do, when they switch a lot?
If teams are switching, then we will bail, all right, or slip. So we'll come up and again, just think about it. If we think a team is going to switch, we'll act like we're coming up to set something and then just take off because they're getting ready to switch. And then if you just take off as that underneath partner guy, that guy's got a decision to make.
Yeah, and it's really interesting too, because the decision that they've got to make, is it's not just the guy who's helping, it's the guy on the ball, so a lot of the times, coach, who asked the question, if your defender on the ball thinks there might be a switch coming, pick left, and all of a sudden the guy bails out of it, the Dodger's going to get a massive step to that side, and then there's not going to be any help there. So it's the bail and the slip.
Yep, exactly.
And differentiating.
A ton of confusion.
Sorry, go ahead. Say again.
I said you create a ton of confusion there, at the moment of impact, and that's what's really difficult to defend.
Yeah. Well, hey, Brundy, it was really awesome to listen to you. I learned a ton. I'll send you a copy of this if you want it. I think the coaches all learned a ton also. And who you got next?
We have Detroit. We're traveling to Detroit this weekend. One of our 3 trips to Michigan, so we're pumped.
Awesome. We'll get a W. We'll be rooting for you. Thanks for coming on. And the rest of the coaches on here, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. And to all the coaches that are on, I appreciate your guys' time tonight. And please feel free. Do not hesitate. I love sharing my ideas and just talking. So, my email's on our website. Do not hesitate to email me or call my office line for any questions that you guys have as time moves on.
Great stuff, Brundy. All right, have a good night. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
See you, Jamie. Thanks.
Yeah.